Hello learners, welcome back to our new session of science. Lesson number 11, Force and Pressure. Previous day I had explained about the non-contact forces. In that magnetic force I had explained with some activity, and electrostatic force and gravitational force also. Today I am going to explain gravitational force. That is, if a any object, if you will throw upwards, then due to the gravitational force of the earth, or the force of gravity pulls the object towards the center of the earth. So that force is called the force of gravity. So gravity is not a property of the earth alone. In fact, every object in the universe, whether small or large, exerts a force on every other object. This force is known as gravitational force. So, gravitational force, electrostatic force, as well as the uh, magnetic force, these are all non-contact forces. Today, we will continue with pressure. That is page number 137. I will explain now what is pressure and how we will feel that pressure is there, and what is the definition for pressure. The force acting on a unit area of a surface is called pressure. Again, I will repeat, the force acting on a unit area of a surface is called pressure. And pressure can be explained by the formula force upon area on which it acts. Force upon area on which it acts. So, some example we can say, you had heard about cyclone. What is cyclone? The wind blowing at very high speed. They are called cyclone or whirlwind. Very recently, previous day, last 2 days, in Tamil Nadu coastal plain, Andhra Pradesh and Orissa, there will be a cyclone is formed, and it is going to affect very badly, and its speed is 120 kilometer per hour. So you had also learned winds and cyclones are caused by the differences in air pressure. So is there any relation between pressure and force? We can find out. So one example we can say, try to push a nail into a wooden plank by its head. A nail has two ends, one sharpened pointed edge and one head portion, flat one. So if you will try to push the nail into the wooden plank by its head, is it you are able to do it? Did you succeed? No. Try now to push the nail by the pointed end. So you reverse it. That pointed edge, try to push on the wooden plank. Could you do this time? So whether you are able to do it? Yes. So why it like that? Because the force acting on a unit area, here the area is less. The pointed sharpened end of the nail is less area. So we can exert more force, and we can insert that pointed portion on the wooden plank. Now, another example, try cutting vegetables with a blunt knife and then with a sharp knife. Take an apple and try to cut with a blunt knife which is not having the sharpen area, and the other one very new one, very sharp knife. So which one easy to cut? The sharp knife can use to cut the apple or the vegetables very easily with less force, and other one, if we will try with more force, then only we can cut. That also properly we cannot cut. Same way scissors, if you will take a cloth and or paper, try to use a blunt scissor, that is old one, which is not that much sharp at its edge, and a new one which is very sharp at its edge. Which one will be easy to cut? That new one which is having more sharp edges, which by using that scissors we can cut the clothes as well as the paper. So all these examples shows that if the pointed end of the nail plays a role in making this task easier. So the area over which the force is applied, in the case of nails, that pointed portion, the area is left, so we can apply the force and the nail can insert on that particular wooden plank. So the formula of pressure equal to force upon area on which it acts. At this stage, we consider only those forces which can act perpendicular to the surface on which the pressure is to be computed. So perpendicular to the surface, the forces which is acting on that. Now, had you seen the porters, especially coolies in the railway station, etc.? They are always having a towel, which when we will ask them to carry our weight or the bags, etc., what they will do? They will make a round cloth on their head, and they will keep the boxes or the bags, 3, 4 box or bags they will keep on their head, and very fast they will move to the train or from the train outside, etc. So why they are able to do like that? Because when they will keep a cloth, rounded piece of cloth on their head, the the area of contact of the head uh, with the load and the head is increasing, so they can keep more and more weight on that head portion. So the pressure on their head is reduced, and they find it easier to carry the loads. So by keeping the cloth on their head, the area between the load and the head will be increasing. So with the less pressure, they can move faster. So another example, if you will take another one, any from your daily life, can you say some other examples? Think and try to find out this type of less force and less area, more force, or less force, more area, like that. Another example we can say, atmospheric pressure is so high as 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. Why we are not crushed by it? So atmospheric pressure is normally 10 raised to 5 Newton upon meter square. Still we are not crushed. Even the cyclone time also, the wind is blowing so heavily. Still, we are not crushed. All the things on the roof and all will be fly, but we will not crush. What is the reason behind it? We are not crushed under this pressure because pressure inside our bodies also equal to the atmospheric pressure and cancel the pressure from outside. So equal to the outside pressure, there is inside our body also pressure is there. So they will balance the pressure or cancel the pressure. So our body will not crush even if heavy wind is blowing on our body. Now I will explain one experiment. You can see that. So students, what is the formula for the pressure? Pressure equal to force upon area on which it acts. Note that the area is in the denominator, is in the above expression. So the smaller the area, larger the pressure on the surface of the same force. The area of the pointed end of the nail is much more smaller than that of its head. That's why it can easily pierce into the wall or the wooden plank, etc. The same force therefore produces a pressure sufficient to push the pointed end of the nail into the wooden plank. So if the end of the nail is not pointed, it is blunt, then we cannot insert on the wooden plank. Can you explain now why shoulder bags are provided with a broad straps and not thin strap? I had already told you school bags. Always the strap will be very broad one, not thin one. Why it is like that? Because the broad strap more area covering, so with less force we can lift the bag on our shoulder and easy to walk. And why the tools meant for cutting and piercing always have sharp edges like knife or the scissors, blades, etc. They are having sharp edges, so we can cut the materials like fruits, vegetables, clothes, paper, etc. with less force. So the cutting and piercing tools have very small area of cross section which lead to increase the pressure with less force. So they can easily penetrate the surface. That's why cutting tools are very much sharpened. When the blade or when the knife is blunt, it is very difficult to cut the vegetables speedily. We have to apply more and more force, then only we can cut the things. And the potters also, I told, the potters place a rounded piece of cloth on their head when they have to carry heavy loads, because the round piece of cloth increases the area of contact of the load with the head. This reduces pressure and facilitates to carry the load. Another example, we can say the shoulder bags are provided with broad straps because we know that larger is the area of contact, lesser the pressure applied on an object. Shoulder bag with broad straps occupy larger area and do not exert too much pressure on the shoulders. So we can carry the bag easily. The nail is pushed into the wooden plank from its pointed end. The reason is the area of the pointed end of the nail is very small than that of the head For the same force, the large pressure can be created by the small area of the surface. Therefore, the small force produce a pressure sufficient to push the pointed end of the nail into the wooden plank. So it is just a reverse. If less area, more force, more pressure it will be applying, and if more area covering, less pressure will be there. And our body is not crushed even though atmospheric pressure is so high. It is 10 raised to 5 Newton per meter square. Still our body is not crushed. The reason is uh, because the pressure inside our body also equals to the atmospheric pressure and cancels the pressure from outside. Now, next part of the chapter is pressure exerted by liquids and gases. Just one activity is given, so I will read first. And if you are able to do this simple activities, you can try at home also. Now you are totally free, so utilize this type of work. You can try and you can experience yourself. Take a transparent glass tube or a plastic pipe. The length of the pipe or the tube should be about 25 centimeter and its diameter should be 5 to 7.5 centimeter. Also take a piece of thin sheet of good quality of rubber, or example we can say balloon, a rubber balloon. Stretch the rubber sheet tightly over one end of the pipe. One end of the pipe, you can see in your textbook it is given activity 11.14, you can see that. Then hold the pipe at the middle, keeping it in a vertical position. Ask one of your friends to pour some water in the pipe. So after uh, tying or a rubber sheet or a balloon at one end of the pipe, ask your friend to put some water in the pipe. Does the rubber sheet bulges out? You can observe whether the rubber sheet is bulging or not. Note also the height of the water column in the pipe because it is transparent. So you can see the water level also in this particular uh, tube when adding the water. Where it will be lying, you can mark it also with a pen. Pour some more water and observe again the bulge in the rubber sheet and the height of the water column in the pipe. When we are adding again, first we add some quantity of water and mark it which was the level and look at the rubber sheet or the balloon is bulging or not. Then again you add some more water and make the level with a mark and observe the balloon is more and more bulging or not. Repeat this process a few more times. Can you see any relation between the amount of bulge in the rubber sheet and the height of the water column in the pipe? Can you observe any relation between the bulging of the balloon and the height of the water column? So, how can you answer, or you can say the observation? When some amount of water is poured into the transparent pipe, tightened at one end with a rubber sheet or a balloon, it bulges out. The height of the water column in the pipe increases. Second time we are adding more and more water. The level of the water in the pipe is increases and the bulging of rubber sheet also increases. on pouring more water in the pipe. Thus, bulging of a rubber sheet increases as the height of water column in the pipe increases. So, it is direct proportional. That is, if more height water level is there, more bulging will be there. Less water level is there, less bulging. So, from this, what we can conclude it, pressure exerted by water at the bottom of the container is proportional to the height of its column. So here less water is there, so less bulging of the balloon. More water is adding, the level of the water column is high, more bulging also you can see. So from this we can say pressure exerted by liquids. So pressure exerted by water at the bottom of the container depends on the height of the column. So students, today I had explained these two parts in pressure. What is pressure? The force exerted or acting on a unit area of a surface is called pressure, and pressure can be uh, written as force upon area on which it acts. So the activities are also I had explained. So you can try at home this activity in your textbook. It is on page number 138 it is given. So try yourself. Now I hope we are going to start the Zoom classes on Monday onwards. So be prepared for that, and all should attend in the classes when we will start teaching lively. And when the teacher explains, that time you should very attentive and not to disturb. At the same time, when if you have any doubts after the session over 5 minutes, you can ask the question one by one. We can clear it, or the next day also we can answer it. Okay, we will meet lively in the next week. Till then,